React instantly in English conversations. The freeze moment. Imagine a scene. You are standing in front of someone, maybe a colleague, a stranger at a cafe, or even a friend you just met abroad. They smile. They ask you something simple, something you probably studied 100 times in your English textbook. But in that moment, your brain does not give you the answer. Instead, it freezes. Silence stretches longer and longer, and suddenly you feel the weight of the pause pressing on your chest. You know you have words somewhere inside, but they do not come out. You are stuck, caught in that invisible wall between thought and speech. This is the freeze moment. Every English learner has faced it. It does not matter how many vocabulary lists you memorized or how many grammar rules you repeated. In real life, when the conversation is alive and moving, your mind can betray you. And the worst part? It feels like everyone can see your hesitation. They keep looking, waiting, while you are trapped, searching for the right words. The feeling is not just about English. It is about confidence, identity, and the fear of not being enough. But let me tell you something powerful. That frozen silence is not a sign of failure. It is not proof that you cannot speak English. It is simply the brain's natural reaction when it tries to process too much at once. Translate, choose, organize, pronounce, all in milliseconds. No wonder it stops. The truth is, native speakers also hesitate. They say, well, to buy time. They forget words. They restart sentences. The difference is, they do not freeze. They react. Even when they do not have the perfect answer, they say something. And that little something keeps the flow alive. Now imagine another scene. Same situation. Someone asks you a question. But this time, instead of silence, your mouth opens instantly. You respond with something short, natural, smooth, not perfect, not advanced, but real. The person nods, smiles, and continues. The conversation flows. You did not freeze, you reacted. And that instant reaction changes everything. Suddenly you feel lighter, more confident, even excited to keep going. The wall is gone. This is the journey we are going to take together. From frozen silence to natural reaction. From overthinking to flowing. You will see that reacting instantly in English is not about knowing thousands of words or memorizing complicated phrases. It is about rhythm, confidence, and training your brain to let go of translation and trust the flow. Throughout this video, we will explore why the freeze happens, what hidden tools native speakers use, and how you can practice to unlock instant reactions in your own speech. Think of it like learning to dance. At first, every step feels mechanical, forced, robotic. You count in your head, afraid of missing a beat. But when you finally feel the rhythm, your body moves naturally. You do not think of each step anymore. You just flow with the music. Speaking English is the same. The freeze comes from trying to control every step. Reacting instantly comes from letting the rhythm guide you. And here is the key. You already have everything you need inside you. You know words. You know phrases. What you lack is not knowledge. It is trust. Trust in your ability to react with what you have. Trust that connection matters more than perfection. Trust that silence does not have to control you. And once you break through the freeze, every conversation becomes an opportunity to express yourself, not an exam you can fail. So stay with me. In the next chapter, we will uncover the hidden reasons behind why your brain freezes when it is time to speak. Once you understand this, you will see that you are not broken, not slow, not incapable. You are simply human, and humans can learn to react instantly. Let's dive into the truth behind the freeze. Why we freeze in English? Why does the mind freeze? Why do you know the answer but fail to say it at the right moment? The truth is, your brain is trying to do something nearly impossible. Imagine a juggler standing in the middle of a crowded street. In one hand, he is holding grammar rules, in the other, a list of vocabulary. And above his head spins the fear of being judged. People are watching, waiting for him to keep everything in the air without dropping a single ball. That pressure is exactly what happens in your head when you speak English. Your brain is juggling too many tasks at the same time. Think about it. You listen to the question. Your ears process the sounds. Your brain translates them into meaning. While that happens, another part of your brain is searching for the right response. But not just any response. You want it to be correct, polite, clear, maybe even impressive. In those seconds, your brain runs through a library of words, checks them against grammar, and then tries to push them to your mouth. It is a huge amount of work compressed into a fraction of a second. No wonder silence comes. The system is overloaded. And yet this is not just about language. It is also about fear. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of making mistakes. This fear is like a heavy chain around your thoughts. It slows everything down. When someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" you do not just hear a simple question. Your brain secretly adds layers. What if I say it wrong? What if they laugh? What if I forget the past tense? Suddenly it is not one question. It is a storm of doubts. Even worse, you are comparing yourself constantly. You think of how fast others speak, how natural they sound, and you measure your worth against them. That comparison paralyzes you. It is like running a race while looking sideways at every other runner. You stumble, not because you are slow, but because your focus is broken. Let me share something important. Freezing is not a sign that you are bad at English. It is the proof that you are human. Your brain is protecting you, trying to avoid embarrassment by stopping you from speaking. But ironically, the very protection it gives is what makes you feel embarrassed. It is a paradox, a trap that every learner falls into. You may remember times when you were alone, practicing sentences, and the words came easily. You repeated them, you felt confident. But in real life, when the moment arrived, everything disappeared. That is because practice without pressure is not the same as performance with pressure. The brain responds differently when eyes are on you, when the silence feels heavy, when the stakes feel real. There is also a deeper reason. Most learners study English with their eyes, not their ears. You memorize words from paper. You learn rules from a book. But conversations do not happen on paper. Conversations happen fast, with rhythm, with broken sentences, with half-finished thoughts. When your training does not match reality, the shock creates hesitation. You are trying to apply textbook English in a world that runs on spoken English. So let us remove the guilt. The freeze is not a weakness. It is a natural signal, like a traffic light turning red. It tells you that your brain is overloaded, that it needs a shortcut. And shortcuts exist. Native speakers use them all the time. They react instantly not because they know every word, but because they rely on patterns, fillers, rhythm, and confidence. Their secret is not perfection. Their secret is flow. If you want to stop freezing, the first step is to understand that nothing is wrong with you. You are not slow. You are not broken. You are not incapable. You are simply training with the wrong tools. And once you start training with the right ones, your reactions will come faster, smoother, more natural. In the next chapter, we are going to explore the hidden secret of instant reactions. We will uncover what native speakers really do when they do not know exactly what to say. And you will see that speed is not about knowing everything. It is about knowing how to respond with confidence, even when you are not sure of the perfect answer. The secret of instant reactions. Let's pause for a moment and look at native speakers. They seem so quick, so effortless, like their brains are wired to respond instantly. Someone asks them a question, and without hesitation they say something back. It almost feels like magic, but if you slow down the tape and really listen, you notice something surprising. Most of the time, they are not giving deep or perfect answers. They are using shortcuts, phrases so automatic that they require no thought. These phrases are the secret to reacting instantly. Imagine you are in a cafe and someone asks, "How's it going?" You freeze because you want to craft a correct answer. You think, should I say "I'm fine"? Should I use "I am doing well"? Or maybe "I am okay"? You waste precious seconds trying to be correct. But a native speaker does not think at all. They just throw out, "Good, thanks," or "Not bad," or even "All right." None of these are advanced. None of them are complicated. They are simply fast, automatic, natural. The secret is that instant reactions are built on small blocks of language that act like reflexes. Think about when you touch something hot. You do not stop and calculate whether to move your hand. You just react. These short phrases are the same. They bypass the heavy thinking part of the brain and give you something to say immediately. And that immediate response keeps the conversation alive. There are hundreds of these blocks. For example, when you do not understand, instead of freezing, you can instantly say, "Sorry?" or "Come again?" When you agree, you can say, "Yeah, totally," or "For sure." When you are surprised, "Really?" or "No way." These are not complex sentences. They are emotional reactions. And because they are short, they come fast. Here is the truth. Most of the time, the person you are talking to is not expecting a perfect answer. They just want a sign that you are engaged. That is why natives rely on fillers like, "Well, actually," "You know." These little sounds and words buy time. They give the brain space to catch up while still keeping the rhythm of the conversation. That is another secret. It is not about speed of thinking. It is about avoiding silence. When you realize this, something changes inside you. You stop chasing perfection and start building your own set of reflex phrases. At first it feels strange. You repeat "really" or "yeah, sure" again and again, and it feels too simple. But the simplicity is the point. With enough practice, these become automatic. And once they are automatic, you can deploy them without thought. Let's imagine a different scene. Someone asks you, "Did you like the movie?" Instead of freezing and building a sentence in your head, you instantly say, "Yeah, it was good." That's all. Maybe you add later, "I liked the ending," but the instant reaction was already there. The silence was avoided. The flow was saved. That is how conversations survive. And there is another layer to this secret. Instant reactions are not just about words. They are about tone, rhythm, and body language. Sometimes a nod, a smile, or a quick "uh-huh" is enough to react. Native speakers do it all the time. They are not giving long speeches. They are giving signals that show presence. And presence is more powerful than perfection. So here is the key. If you want to stop freezing, stop aiming for perfect sentences. Start collecting these small, instant response phrases. Train them until they are reflexes. Use them everywhere. With friends, with coworkers, even when talking to yourself. The more they become automatic, the more your brain will trust itself to react in real conversations. In the next chapter, we will dive into the mind itself. We will explore how to train your brain to think in English without translation. So your reactions do not just come fast, they come naturally. Because the ultimate secret is not memorizing lines, it is rewiring your brain to operate directly in English. And that is where the real transformation begins. Thinking in English without translation. Picture this. You are in the middle of a conversation, and someone asks you, "What do you usually have for breakfast?" Simple question, right? But inside your head, something complicated happens. You think in your native language first. You say the answer silently, then try to translate it into English, adjust the grammar, check the vocabulary, and only then speak. That delay, even if it is just 2 seconds, is what creates hesitation, silence, and the feeling of freezing. Translation is the invisible chain holding you back. Native speakers do not translate. They think directly in English, because for them the sound of the word is already connected to the idea. When they think coffee, they do not see it in their mind and then search for a word. They just feel it as coffee. Your goal is not to memorize more vocabulary, but to build this direct link between English and thought. And the truth is, your brain is capable of this rewiring. It has done it before with your native language, and it can do it again with English. The first step is immersion, but not the artificial kind where you read lists of words. Real immersion means surrounding yourself with English sounds, so your brain begins to associate ideas with the rhythm of the language itself. Imagine walking through your daily routine and narrating it in English in your head. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm getting dressed. I'm hungry. These are not advanced sentences. They are training for your brain to stop translating. Each time you describe what you are doing in English, you cut the chain of translation one more link at a time. Another technique is shadowing. You listen to a native speaker, a movie line, or a podcast, and repeat immediately, almost at the same time. Do not pause to translate. Do not stop to check grammar. Just repeat the sound and rhythm. At first it feels mechanical, like copying. But soon something happens. The rhythm gets inside you. Your mouth starts moving before you think, and suddenly you are not translating. You are reacting. It also helps to limit your native language when you practice English. For example, if you are journaling, do it only in English. Write about your day using simple words, even if they repeat. I went to work. I was tired. I had lunch with my friend. The simplicity does not matter. What matters is that your brain is building a habit. Thoughts come in English, not through translation. And here is a powerful trick. Accept imperfect English. When you stop translating, you will make mistakes. You will miss words. You will use good when delicious would be better. But that is okay. The goal is not perfection. It is fluency. Think of it like playing jazz music. A jazz musician does not stop the music when he forgets a note. He keeps playing, he improvises, he reacts. That is how you must treat English. Keep the rhythm, keep the flow, even if the details are not perfect. Now imagine another scene. You are at a party. Someone asks you, "Where are you from?" Instead of translating in your head, you immediately answer, "I'm from Brazil." Then they ask, "What do you like about your city?" You don't pause to build a perfect sentence. You instantly say, "I like the food. People are friendly. The weather is warm." Simple answers, but instant. No translation, no freeze. And because you reacted instantly, the conversation keeps moving. That flow is what makes you sound natural. Thinking in English without translation is not something you achieve overnight. It is a gradual rewiring. But every time you practice, you teach your brain to skip the middle step. You stop asking, "How do I say this in English?" and start just saying it. That is the key. The moment your brain stops seeing English as a school subject and starts feeling it as a living language, everything changes. In the next chapter, we will connect this new way of thinking with rhythm. Because reacting instantly is not only about words, it is about sounding smooth, natural, and alive. And rhythm is the hidden music behind every conversation that can make your English flow instead of freeze. Rhythm and natural flow. Language is not only about words, it is about music. Every language has its own beat, its own rhythm, and English is no exception. If you listen carefully, you will notice that English moves like a song. Some words are stressed, some are softer, and the voice rises and falls as if following invisible notes. This rhythm is what makes speech feel smooth instead of robotic. And if you want to react instantly in conversations, rhythm is your greatest ally. Think about it. When you freeze, silence takes over. But silence is not the only enemy. Speaking too slowly, placing equal weight on every word, makes your English sound mechanical. Imagine a piano player pressing each key with the same strength, without pause, without melody. The result is flat and lifeless. The same happens when you speak English without rhythm. But when you learn to follow the natural flow, your words connect, and your speech comes alive, even if your vocabulary is limited. Native speakers do not think about grammar while speaking. They ride the rhythm. Small words like to, of, and a become soft background sounds, while main words like want, go, and home get the beat. Try it. I want to go home. Notice how want and home carry the stress, while to and go move quickly, almost disappearing. This pattern gives English its unique sound, and more importantly, it makes speaking easier. You do not need to pronounce every word perfectly. You need to catch the rhythm. Fillers are also part of this music. Words like well, actually, you know, act as drum beats in a conversation. They buy time, they give you space, but they also keep the rhythm alive. Imagine someone asks, "What do you think about the movie?" If you pause in silence, the freeze creeps in. But if you instantly say, "Well, I think it was good," you have reacted. The word well saved you. It kept the flow moving until your brain delivered the rest. Another key to rhythm is connected speech. Natives do not pronounce words separately. They glue them together. I'm gonna go. Did you eat yet? Which sounds like jeet yet? These shortcuts are not mistakes. They are the natural music of English. And if you train your ear to hear them and your tongue to use them, your reactions will feel faster. You will not stop to separate each word. You will release them in a smooth line. Think of a conversation like dancing. If you focus on every step, you stumble. If you let the rhythm guide you, your body moves naturally. The same is true with English. You do not need to plan every sentence. You just need to trust the beat of the language. Listen to native speakers. Notice when their voices rise, when they fall, when they stretch a word, when they shorten another. Copy that music, and your English will start to flow. Let's imagine a scene. You are in a group conversation. People are laughing, talking fast, interrupting each other. You feel lost. But instead of freezing, you decide to join the rhythm. You throw in short reactions. Right, exactly. I see. You nod, you laugh, you use your voice to follow the flow. Suddenly, you are not outside anymore. You are inside the music of the conversation. And you realize something powerful. You do not need to say much to belong. Rhythm is enough to carry you. This is the hidden secret most learners never discover. Fluency is not only words, it is timing. The space between words matters as much as the words themselves. If you speak with the wrong rhythm, even perfect grammar sounds unnatural. But if you capture the rhythm, even simple phrases feel alive. That is why children, with their limited vocabulary, sound more fluent than adults who study for years. They flow. They follow the beat. So here is the truth. To react instantly, train your ear first, not your memory. Let English enter you as music. Repeat phrases not for their grammar, but for their sound. Feel the stress, the softness, the rise and the fall. Speak as if you are singing, even when the song is simple. Because when you own the rhythm, hesitation disappears. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into something even more powerful: emotion. Because rhythm moves the words, but emotions give them life. And when you connect emotion with confidence, your reactions in English become unstoppable. Emotional triggers and confidence. Why does your voice disappear the moment you feel nervous? Why do the words you know so well suddenly hide when you need them most? The answer is not just about language. It is about emotion. Every time you enter a conversation in English, Your emotions step into the room with you. Fear, doubt, excitement, shame, they are invisible, but they control everything. Confidence is not a decoration in your English. It is the foundation. Without it, even the strongest knowledge collapses. With it, even broken sentences can feel powerful. Think of a time when you were confident in your native language. Maybe you were telling a story to friends, maybe you were joking, maybe you were explaining something at work. You spoke freely, without rehearsing every word. Now imagine feeling that same freedom in English. That is what confidence does. It unlocks your voice. And the key to confidence is not waiting until you are perfect. It is learning to react even when you are not. Emotions are the triggers that either freeze you or push you forward. Fear whispers, "Don't speak, you'll make a mistake." Confidence answers, "Speak anyway. Mistakes don't kill conversations." Doubt says, "You're too slow." Confidence says, "Just react. Fast is enough." Shame tries to silence you, but confidence reminds you that every learner goes through this. Which voice will you listen to? That choice defines whether you freeze or flow. One powerful trick is to use your body as an anchor. Your physiology shapes your psychology. When you stand tall, breathe deeply, and smile, your brain receives a message. You are safe. You are capable. Try this before speaking English. Lift your chest, relax your shoulders, breathe in slowly. This small ritual tells your nervous system that you are in control. And when the body feels secure, the mind opens, and the words flow more easily. Another emotional trigger is acceptance. Most learners fight against mistakes as if they were crimes. But mistakes are evidence of effort, proof that you are practicing. Think about native speakers. They make mistakes all the time. They forget words, they restart sentences, they use fillers. Yet they do not feel ashamed, because their confidence tells them mistakes are normal. The moment you accept this truth, the freeze loses power. You no longer stop because you fear mistakes. You keep going, because connection matters more. Let us imagine a conversation. You are in a meeting at work. Someone asks for your opinion. Fear rises. Your heart beats faster. Your palms sweat. Your mind goes blank. But instead of freezing, you trigger your confidence. You say instantly, "Well, I think..." You do not know the full sentence yet, but you started. The rhythm carries you forward. You add a few words, maybe not perfect, but alive. And because you reacted, the silence never came. Your confidence gave you time to think while your words kept the flow. Confidence also grows through exposure. The more you face conversations, the stronger you become. Imagine stepping into cold water. The first touch shocks you. But if you stay, your body adjusts, and soon you feel comfortable. English is the same. Every time you enter a conversation, the fear shocks you. But if you stay, if you react, your mind adjusts and confidence grows. Avoiding English keeps you cold forever. Facing it makes you warm. There is also a deeper truth. Confidence is not about believing you will never fail. It is about believing you can recover when you fail. That belief changes everything. If you forget a word, you can describe it. If you make a mistake, you can laugh. If you freeze, you can restart. Each recovery proves that you are stronger than the silence. And with every proof, confidence becomes your natural state. So when you think of instant reactions, do not just train words. Train emotions. Tell yourself, "I can react." Why? Use your body, your breath, your acceptance as weapons against fear. Because once you anchor your emotions in confidence, the freeze has no chance. The words you already know will surface. Your reactions will come naturally, not because your English is perfect, but because your courage is alive. In the next chapter, we will bring all of this into practice. We will step into real-life conversations, cafes, workplaces, social gatherings, and see how instant reactions actually sound. You will discover how simple phrases, rhythm, and confidence combine to create fluent, natural English in the real world. Real conversations, real training. Theory alone will never break the freeze. You need to step inside the fire of real conversations, where voices overlap, where questions arrive without warning, where silence feels heavy. That is where your instant reactions are tested, and that is where you train your fluency in its rawest form. But here is the good news. You do not need to wait for some perfect opportunity. You can simulate real conversations and practice them every single day. Picture yourself at a cafe. The barista looks up and says, "What can I get you?" For many learners, this simple question creates panic. The mind starts building a sentence, checking the grammar, searching for vocabulary. And while all of this happens, the silence grows. But now, imagine you have trained for this moment. You do not freeze. You react instantly. "A coffee, please." Short, natural, fast. The barista smiles, writes it down, and the interaction is over in seconds. You survived. More than that, you flowed. Now imagine a workplace. You are in a meeting and your boss suddenly asks, "What do you think?" This is the kind of question that can paralyze anyone. But instead of freezing, you start with a reflex phrase. "Well, I think," or "in my opinion." That instant reaction buys you time. You may not have the perfect sentence ready, but you already filled the silence with something natural. From there, your brain catches up, and you finish. We should try this approach. Confidence grows not because you had the best idea, but because you reacted, and the conversation continued. Social settings work the same way. At a party, someone new asks, "How do you know the host?" You could freeze, searching for grammar, or you could react instantly. We work together, simple, fast, and effective. The conversation continues. Then they ask, "What do you do?" Again, your instant reflex comes, "I'm in IT," or "I study engineering." The beauty of real conversations is that they do not require advanced vocabulary. They require flow. And flow comes from instant reactions. But how do you train this in daily life? The answer is role play. You do not need a teacher or a partner. You can imagine scenarios and practice them out loud. Walk through your day and ask yourself, "What would I say if someone asked me this?" Then practice your instant responses. You are cooking, and you imagine a friend asking, "What are you making?" You instantly say, "Pasta." You are walking outside, and you imagine a stranger asking, "Nice weather, huh?" You instantly say, "Yeah, it's great." The more you simulate, the stronger your reflex becomes. Another training method is speed drills. Take common questions and answer them with the first thing that comes to your mind, without filtering, without checking. "What did you do yesterday?" "I went to work." "What are your plans for the weekend?" "I'm going to relax." "What do you think of this song?" "It's cool." The goal is not complexity. The goal is speed. Every time you answer without hesitation, you teach your brain to react. And let us not forget technology. You can record yourself responding to random prompts, use an app, use flashcards, or simply ask yourself questions into your phone. The moment you press record, pressure enters. It feels more real. And when you listen back, you hear the rhythm, the fillers, the pauses. You can see where you froze and where you flowed. That feedback becomes your mirror. The final layer is real exposure. Seek conversations whenever possible. Join language exchanges. Talk to strangers online. Speak to tourists in your city. Each real interaction is training. Every time you respond, even with something simple, you prove to yourself that you can react. The freeze loses power because you face it again and again, until it becomes smaller than your confidence. So let us make this clear. Real conversations are not about perfection. They are laboratories for training your reflexes. Every cafe order, every small talk, every unexpected question is practice. You do not need to sound like Shakespeare. You need to sound alive. And alive means reacting. In the next chapter, we will bring this journey to its closing vision. From silence to flow, from fear to freedom, we will see how instant reactions transform not only your English, but the way you face the world. From silence to flow. Think back to that first image we created together. You, standing in front of someone, frozen, trapped in silence, wishing the words would come. That moment felt heavy, like failure, like proof that your English was not good enough. But now, after this journey, you can see it for what it really was. Not a sign of weakness, but a signal. A signal that your brain needed a new way. And that way is flow. Flow begins with understanding that perfection is an illusion. Nobody speaks perfectly, not even native speakers. They hesitate, they restart, they laugh at their own mistakes. The difference is, they do not freeze. They keep the rhythm alive. They trust the flow. And so can you. The secret is not knowing everything. The secret is reacting instantly, even with simple words. Yeah, really, you know. These are not fillers. They are lifelines. They carry you across the silence and back into connection. Now imagine yourself in the same cafe, the same workplace, the same party. The questions come, but this time you respond. Instantly. Naturally. Maybe your sentences are short, maybe they are not perfect, but they are alive. The other person smiles, nods, continues. The freeze is gone, replaced by a rhythm that feels like music. That rhythm is yours now. Flow is not just about English. It is about trust. When you stop translating, when you allow your thoughts to surface without fear, you start trusting yourself. That trust expands into confidence. And confidence is not just for language. It transforms the way you move through life. Conversations no longer feel like exams. They feel like dances, like opportunities, like doors opening. This transformation does not happen overnight. It grows with practice, with exposure, with courage. Every time you react instead of freeze, you take one more step. Every well, every yeah, every I think is a victory. Small, yes, but together they build a new reality. One day you look back and realize you are not afraid anymore. You speak, you flow, you belong. So here is the final truth. Silence will always try to return. Fear will always whisper. But now you have the tools to answer back. You know the secret of instant reactions. You know how to think in English, how to ride the rhythm, how to trigger your confidence. You know that real conversations are not about grammar. They are about connection. From silence to flow, this is your path. Every conversation is a chance to practice. Every mistake is a step forward. Every reaction is proof of your growth. You do not need permission. You do not need perfection. You only need to trust the flow and let your voice out. So the next time someone looks at you waiting for your answer, do not freeze. React. Instantly. Naturally. Smoothly. Because your English does not have to be robotic. It has to be alive. And the rhythm of that life is already inside you.